What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosa. You can find me on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28, and that's the one, the only Scott Savage. You can find him on Twitter at Savage. Scott, what's going on, buddy?
Actually, last night I tried out a brand new game, One Piece Warriors.
I saw you playing that. How was it?
Yeah, it's based on an anime that I have not watched.
Yeah,
but the game is pretty cool. It's a Warriors game.
Is it? Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Huh. There is a new Warriors game I was looking at, or a Dynasty game. You ever play the Dynasty franchise?
No, a little bit. A very little bit, yeah.
Yeah, no, I have not really played it, but it's the newest one kind of caught my eye a little bit, which is weird because it's not really my kind of game at all. But
oh, you got in with Hyrule Warriors.
Well, there is that, right? Dude, that one really hooked me. I still think about going back to that one, but man, there's just so many games, Scott. So many games and so many things to watch, just like us over on twitch.tv/the official ITG, as well as YouTube at ITG. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later inside the game.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. Scott, coming up on today's show, reports are coming in that developers are moving out of the way for God of War Ragnarok's launch in November. A game that seemed long forgotten makes a resurgence. Oh, dude, I can't wait to talk about that one. And Sony is paying off developers to stay away from Xbox Game Pass. Ooh, it's a hot show, buddy. It's a hot show today. Let's get going. This is God of War Ragnarok. Let me start over, Scott. God, I'm too excited already, buddy. God of War Ragnarok reportedly causing developers to move their games. Ha! No kidding. Move out the way. Skull and Bones, you're next. Dude, just call it. Yeah, well, honestly, right? That's just, man, come on, guys. This is over at Cade from comicbook.com. God of War Ragnarok is reportedly such a titan of a game. No kidding. The other studios are moving out of its way and delaying their titles. God of War Ragnarok is easily one of the most anticipated titles on the horizon and is one of the games expected to be in the awards race at the end of 2022, along with Elden Ring. And I think we're done. What do you think, Scott? That's that fair assessment?
Oh, when did Starfield get moved to now? That's the
2023. 2023. It's not coming out this year.
Yeah, no, see, they secured a game of the year already for that year, but
yeah. The game was announced in 2020, just over 2 years after its predecessor was released, and was marketed as a key title for the upcoming PlayStation 5. God of War Ragnarok release is now November 9th. So keep that in the back of your mind. Because, dude, it is now probably my most anticipated title of the year. Easily. I think right now, game of the year for me is still Horizon Forbidden West until maybe God of War Ragnarok comes around. Just saying, it could be.
I'm still thinking I'm thinking about Scorn still quite a bit.
Ooh, good call, good call. Not for me, clearly. Not for me.
Oh, Callisto. There's so many horror games coming down that I'm so excited.
Man, it does seem like a bit of a horror genre year, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think I put it on Twitter. We eat well this year.
Yeah, fair enough. With that said, according to Tim Geddes over at Kind of Funny, developers and publishers may be, quote, scared, end quote, of God of War Ragnarok. Geddes went on to note that he's had business calls with various people who said that things that he was shocked by. He stated that developers/publishers were getting out of the way of God of War Ragnarok and pulling out of things. He didn't get too specific, but stated that it's all in service of giving God of War Ragnarok its space. Scott.
That is probably the smarter decision. Yeah, nobody wants to.
Right?
Was it Horizon that was overshadowed twice?
Dude, it's nuts. Yo, what is up,
I was almost hoping that they were going to rush a third Horizon game in just to the breach.
Just keep it going, keep the meme going, dude.
Surprisingly, they've had good success that way, but
yeah. Well, it didn't. Geddes didn't mention any titles or publishers, but Forspoken recently moved from October to January 2023. Something fans speculated could be due to other releases this fall. I think that makes a lot of sense. Ubisoft recently scheduled Skull and Bones for November 8th. What a giant mistake that is going to be, Scott. Like, that is just horrendous, right? We also do see Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 coming out on October 28th and Gotham Knights on October 25th, a couple weeks prior the God of War, kind of taking over the mainstream of absolutely everything. Even the most anticipated title this year coming via Phil Spencer is God of War Ragnarok. Like, what's that tell you? Right?
Oh, it has to be the giant hit. Think about how much crazy chaos that started. People trying to get little bits of information out of the devs, and when are we going to get it? It was just a constant roar for more than a year now.
Well, that's just it. You got to wonder who had the insight and the knowledge to know, okay, Sony's looking to drop this in November. Why don't we just get the heck out of November? Honestly, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's get ahead of schedule or wait until December. And even by that point, I think you're better off just to wait until the new year, in a sense, right? I don't know if you really want to launch something in December. Is it really worthwhile? I think if you're an indie developer, I think it is. But if you're in that AAA space, I don't think you really want to launch up against God of War. I think Ubisoft is going to pay a massive price due to the fact that they're launching the day before God of War Ragnarok. Like that just, man. Like for me, dude, Ubisoft needs to take a look and just, well, they clearly did not know, right? No. The problem is, I think, I feel that there's, oh man, this is so bad. There's solid bones to the game, but it's still a sinking ship that's going to send out to sea, right? Like, I think there's something there with Skull and Bones. We thought that for a while, and what is there definitely has me intrigued. I do want to play it. But man, you're going up against God of War. At this point, Ubisoft needs to go, you know what? They should honestly just come right out and say, right on a Twitter post, go, yo, God of War is coming out. We don't want to be up against God of War. We're moving the release date. Either move it ahead or move it back. And just be completely transparent as to the reason. Because if they're not, they're just going to get called out on it, right? Easily. Yeah. Or you're just moving because God of War releases next day. Yep. Right? Like that's, dude, move your game. The fact that they're still just kind of holding on to this release date. I get they're two different games, but you can't compete against God of War. I don't care what game you are.
No, and if you're releasing earlier, I think that's kind of the most dangerous move, because if you don't have that staying power with the game, it's just going to be easily forgotten a week later.
Right. Yeah, that's man. Oh man.
I still have some concerns about. I almost said Sea of Thieves, but.
Sea of Thieves is doing just fine.
Yeah,
Skull and Bones, yet to be seen.
They're the constant. If it doesn't work out so well, Sea of Thieves servers are gonna boom.
Well, that's the other. I wonder, will Skull and Bones pull any Sea of Thieves players away? I think it will at the start. Just because everybody wants to see what everybody's been talking about Skull and Bones now for so long. How do you not want to kind of dive in and go, what is this all about? Was this worth the 10-year wait that we've known about this game? And they've been working on it for like 15 years or whatever it is at this point, right? Like, you got to know. But man, like we've covered this game pretty extensively as of late, just because we've actually seen the new update, the new gameplay, and this, that, and the other. And high hopes, but low expectations is kind of how I go into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is
that's usually a good way of handling most kind of unknowns. You don't want to get too excited for it and then it just will never match up.
Yeah, it just feels like we're still stuck in last gen on the game. I think that's one of the biggest problems, where God of War is going to push everything that the PlayStation 5 can throw at it, right? So it's just, here's what you got. This is what we're going to go in. Granted, God of War Ragnarok is also coming to PS4, so don't think you've been left out there at all. So that is coming as well. But at the same time,
can you imagine the racket?
Well,
it's probably going to turn the PS5 into a jet
engine. Man, I wonder how well it runs on PS4, right? Because obviously the new hardware and stuff makes things a lot easier and quicker and more responsive, load times, this, that, the other, blah, 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 right? Like, it's just, there's definitely a leap forward going from last gen to next gen consoles where we're at currently. So to go back to PS4, if you, like, I was talking to a guy yesterday and he still doesn't have a PS5. He's still rocking the PS4. I'm like, yo, God of War's coming up, man. Like, you gotta, he goes, I haven't played the first one. I'm like, whoa, you need to get on that, first of all. So yeah, he's now thinking about going back to that one. And dude, the minute he plays that, he's going to want to play next. Yeah.
There's 100 hours plus.
Well, there's, you can definitely take your time and scour everything, because it's, man, what a beautiful game that was too. I adored God of War. It is definitely one of my top favorite games of all time. Right up there with Metal Gear Solid 3. So yeah, it's
That's a very tall mountain to climb.
It certainly is, and God of War pulled it off. Yeah, absolutely loved it. It was fantastic. We got a lot of high hopes going into Ragnarok, and everybody's kind of waiting on bated breath to see what is next with Kratos, what is next with Atreus, what worlds are we getting into, what's going on with Freya, because if you haven't known what's going on there, yo, you gotta figure it out and play that.
I'm a little bit behind.
Scott, get caught up, man. Get caught with the times. Let's move on, though, as we're moving into an unrated sci-fi shooter, or underrated sci-fi shooter is back from the dead. Yeah, that's right.
Not expect to see this one.
Not at all. Absolutely. This comes from Shabana Reef over at Tech Radar. The 4v1 monster hunting madness of Evolve. Yeah, that's right. You heard me right. Evolve has been given a new lease on life since 2K brought peer-to-peer servers and matchmaking back. Unbelievable, Scott. Evolve is the follow-up to Turtle Rock Studios' Left 4 Dead. It saw the studio pivot from pitting players against zombie hordes to tracking and hunting a single-player controlled monster instead. Dude, this game was sick. Absolutely loved this game. Good news is, it's kind of back. So I say kind of because it's only on PC. Here's the sad news, dude. I downloaded it this morning on Xbox. I'm gonna see if this game still works.
Oh,
yo, guess what doesn't work?
No, it's not on console.
No, it's not on console. They brought it so you can go in and do peer to peer. So yo, you got a party of 5 playing Evolve right now. You can have an absolute blast, right? You're all in there chatting away. There's nothing like the experience of buddying up with buddies and any friends, girlfriend. I game with my wife all the time, so there's that. It's just, dude, it's amazing to get in because you're not playing against PCs, you're playing against all of your friends all in one thing, and one of them is the monster, and the other 4 are trying to track down and kill the monster. Yo, it is a blast. I really miss this game. I gotta be honest.
Yeah, that was one that I had a lot of fun with for a very short time, and then I kind of fell out of it, and then it disappeared entirely. I thought that was the last I'd seen.
Yeah, absolutely. So they have brought it back somewhat, so you can actually get your own servers going now if you are on the world of Steam. No Xbox, no PlayStation, so no consoles, which is understandable. The peer-to-peer server is definitely one thing. This, however, is a little disappointing. You can play the single player if you wanted to do that. Join up with bots and fight a monster, or you can be the monster and fight bots. If you haven't checked it out, you could do it that way, I guess. But yeah, you lose the PvP element.
It's a bit more of a training mode there that way.
No, absolutely, it's definitely a training mode, man. It's what a wicked game. I definitely do miss it. That would have been an easily like a let's play for us, like hands down.
Oh, I'm wondering, what would it look like if the Dead by Daylight developers had a hand on this one? There'd be Godzilla, there'd be every creature that ever existed as the monster, and I don't know. There's a lot of potential there. Evolve 2 is likely never going to happen, but it's a good idea.
That was, I was going to ask you, do you think we'll ever see another Evolve? Turtle Rock, if they see the rise of this, right? Now Turtle Rock still owned by Warner Brothers, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they're owned by Warner Brothers, and they maybe take a look at this, go, hey, like, can we work on this? Do they own the IP? 2K owns the IP. So there's that problem too, right? So all of a sudden now Turtle Rock, I believe. All right, now I gotta look it up, dude. Warner Brothers, Turtle Rock.
The Nemesis system.
I put Turtle. They bring Turtle Rock, dude.
As a survivor every time, or as one of the humans, you just lose and come back stronger. Different.
Yeah, that's
it makes me think of that Predator game. What was that, Hunting Grounds?
Yeah, dude, that was a great game too. That was a ton of fun. We had a blast playing that one. Yeah. Yo, Tencent's got their fingers. We talked about that the other day, right? Tencent's got a hold on Turtle Rock.
Yeah, there's something going on there. Not sure if it's something to be concerned about yet, but
I kind of wonder.
Big moves happening.
Yeah. Talking about big moves, Scott. Microsoft accuses Sony of paying devs to stay off Xbox Game Pass. What? This is Brendan Sinclair over at GamesIndustry.biz. Microsoft has claimed that Sony has been paying developers to keep their work off subscription services like its own Game Pass, according to VGC. The outlet says the accusation was made in a document sent to Brazilian regulators assessing the Xbox maker's proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Quote, Microsoft's ability to continue expanding Game Pass has been obstructed by Sony's desire to inhibit such growth, end quote, the company said. Quote, Sony pays by blocking rights, end quote, to prevent developers from sending content to Game Pass and other competing subscription services. A little inside baseball there, Scott. What are your thoughts on Sony blocking companies from allowing them to have access to distribute their game on Game Pass?
Well, it might seem kind of underhanded, but at the same time, this is somewhat of a console wars battleground. A subscription console wars is just the newest era. So it does make sense that Sony would want to do something to kind of slow that acquisition, but it costs money for them to do that. So it's not a very sustainable option. They're better off to come up with their own kind of Play Pass. I still want to see Play Pass come around.
Oh man, yeah, no, for sure. It only reveals once again a fear about an innovative business model that offers high quality content at low costs to gamers, threatening a leadership that has been forged from a device-centric and exclusivity-focused strategy over the years, Microsoft said. They're calling out Sony, dude, because Sony needs to step it up. We've talked about this, and I still back this. Their new PlayStation Plus model is cool, but it's not Game Pass, and it's still not a competitor with Game Pass, right? That's the biggest thing. You're not going to get God of War Ragnarok on PlayStation Plus when it drops day and date. Not going to happen. They want you to buy that IP, right? They want you to buy that brand new game and get invested. Yo, I'm invested regardless, so I definitely buy it, and that's how it kind of works over there. But if you're over on the Xbox side of things and you have Game Pass, we still talk about how it's the best service around, bar none, right? Like, you can't compete with it. Even PlayStation is not competing with it, Scott. So I definitely like to see them step up. And a lot of people were kind of going, is the new PlayStation model, subscription model, PlayStation Plus, the answer to Xbox Game Pass? And it is not. No. It really isn't. No. And it's unfortunate, because if you want to go toe to toe with Microsoft, that's where you got to go. And Jim Ryan's come right out and said it's not a good, viable business model. Clearly it works, Scott. Yeah. If they are now blocking Microsoft, right, from other developers adding to Game Pass, there's something there. They're fearful of the Xbox Game Pass model, and I think they need to step it up. They need to come out with their own Game Pass model.
They need to step it up to compete with Xbox now, to keep that kind of competition in a rising manner. Otherwise, unfortunately, they're competing with Nintendo, and that's not...
It's not a model.
That's an arena that's 10 years old. Yeah.
Well, that's just it, right? And the biggest thing for me now, because where PlayStation has gone with their new PlayStation Plus subscription, this 3-tier system, dude, for them to now introduce some kind of Game Pass model as well, I think they're just going to shoot themselves in the foot by saying, okay, yeah, we clearly should have done this in the first place. So here's a 4th subscription model we're introducing. They're not going to do that. Already the 3-tier system is
already awful to try and understand. Yeah,
right. Like, it's such a giant misstep here from PlayStation to say that, hey, we should be doing it this way, and they're just, man, it's laid out in front of them. Like, clearly it works. Don't tell me it doesn't work, because it does. Yeah. Because now you're blocking everybody, or at least some developers, from getting over there to Game Pass. And it's interesting to see a little bit behind the scenes, because we don't often get to see any of this, right? So for Microsoft to just come flat out and say, hey, Sony's blocking developers, like, yeah, I get it. And there's a reason why. Competition. They want to pull people away from that. And I think what Sony's building too, I think, is good. But at the same time, there is no Game Pass service over there. I wonder one day, Scott, if we'll see a reinvention of the PlayStation Plus Game Pass experience over for PlayStation. They've got to do something, because they're losing out.
Will they do that first, or will Nintendo figure out an online system first? Because in both cases, I think there's a lot of catching up to do.
That's fair. Very fair. Very fair. We're getting close.
Before Apple comes in and creates the ultimate system. I'm still thinking about that.
So I saw Apple the other day, actually. Welcome to ITG, side tangent. This is what we do here. I saw Apple the other day, actually. They're getting ready to launch their VR system.
Okay.
Yeah, they're getting into this realm. I'm like, okay, you have mobile games, you have the Apple Arcade, and now you're getting into VR. What does that mean, really? Right? Like, are you going to get into like the
You get
Half-Life Alex, or where are we
the
going?
retinal screen in your retinas.
Well, we'll see what happens, but dude, let's get into nope, next article. There we go. Microsoft claims it simply wouldn't be profitable to make Call of Duty Xbox exclusive. That's because they send it to PlayStation at a price, Scott. Right? Like they get something from PlayStation, and I think it makes a lot of sense, and they don't want to.
The way it's set up, it seems like there's a percentage gained on every sale, and you would lose that huge amount of sales if you were to cut PlayStation out.
Absolutely. This comes from Chris Scullion over at VGC. In a document sent to Brazil's, Brazil is all over this stuff today, Administrative Council for Economic Defense, discussing the proposed acquisition, Microsoft claims that any concerns that Call of Duty would no longer appear on PlayStation are unfounded because it, quote, simply would not be profitable, end quote, from Microsoft. Regardless of how unsurprising Sony's criticism of content exclusivity is, given the PlayStation's entire strategy has been centered on exclusivity over the years, the reality is that the strategy of retaining Activision Blizzard games by not distributing them in rival console shops would simply not be profitable for Microsoft. Dude, that makes a ton of sense. But at the same time, they're calling in Bethesda and keeping them exclusive, so it does kind of make you wonder and question what, like, how long. So okay,
well, Call of Duty's got that giant mass appeal, so maybe it makes sense in that scenario. But
like Minecraft,
Bethesda, you can pull enough people because Starfield is just set to be that massive of a hit.
Absolutely.
It's like Elden Ring. If you could have Elden Ring on Nintendo Switch, you'd have 1 billion sales on Nintendo Switch. It almost doesn't matter what you put it on.
Man, how do you think it would run on the Switch?
Oh, at about 1 frame an hour.
Yeah, that would be a feat, I tell you, from Soft.
Let Me Solo Her is going to have to do a lot of backup play.
Absolutely. No, I think this makes a lot of sense, right? Because you're getting money in your pocket a little bit more from not only from the fan base, but also from PlayStation, because they want this distribution rights. And every time there is a sale, right, they get a percentage. You said it so yourself. It's one of those things that they get to capitalize more than just once. Once they sell on the Xbox, that's it, they're done. But here they sell it to PlayStation and then the sale kind of thing.
People are worried about the exclusivity issue when you're buying up all these companies, these acquisitions. And there's some good thought to that. But who would have known that having something like Call of Duty locked on one system, but you have to work with the other systems to make it profitable? That's almost what will end the console wars, is third party, not exclusivity. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you have Halo on one side and you have Killzone on the other. That's not what's going to bring the two sides together.
Sure. Let me ask you, where was I going with this?
Titanfall 3 cross platform, please.
Okay, let me ask you this. Warzone, obviously, right? They're going to put it on everywhere. But will the next Call of Duty single player experience just be on Xbox?
Oh, that's a very interesting way of breaking that up. Because the single player, it does attract a large crowd, but not the main crowd.
Not the Warzone crowd, right? Like the Warzone crowd are going to maybe dabble with the single player. They probably won't even finish it. If they do, they're done in 6 hours, and then they bounce over to Warzone and spend the rest of their life over there. A lot of people
handle Call of Duty that way too. Like, if you look at the achievements, well, that'll tell you. There's only so big of a percentage of people that have beaten the game. It's not a very large percentage.
Exactly, right? So give the mass appeal what they really want, which is the Warzone experience. And then from there, you take back the single player experience and tie that over to the Xbox exclusive side and working from there. But Scott, we do have a couple games out today, buddy. What do we have?
We have Cult of the Lamb, and that is on PS4, 5, Xbox One, XS, Switch, and PC. We also have Rumbleverse, and that's on PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, XS, and PC. No Switch there.
Dude, I gotta ask, Rumbleverse, what are your thoughts?
I'm not familiar with Rumbleverse, actually. That's one that's gone completely under the radar for me.
It's a little interesting. I'll put it that way. We'll see what happens with Scott. Just like that, our show is over already, man. This has been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. You can always join us live at 11 a.m. Eastern over on twitch.tv/the official ITG, as well as YouTube at ITG. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later inside the game.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. Until tomorrow, I'm Drew, that's Scott, and we'll see you inside the game.